Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. Today's topic is Mars or Mangal enters the sign of Virgo or Kanya. So this is a karmic shakeup time for India. And Mars and Saturn will mutually aspect each other starting 28th July 2025, and this is going to go on till 13th September 2025. So this is going to be an astrological turning point. Mars, Saturn, Ketu, Jupiter will affect many things globally. Now, this is the chart on 28th July 2025, 8:11 p.m. IST. That is the time when Mars or Mangal enters the sign of Kanya or Virgo, represented by the letters MA in this chart. And you can see Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Pisces starting 13 July 2025. So now Mars and Saturn are mutually aspecting each other. At the same time, Ketu is in the sign of Leo or Sima and Jupiter is in the Ardra nakshatra. So what is the impact of all of these combinations? Let us understand this. So let us begin with Mars in Virgo. So what is Virgo? Virgo is a sign that represents the health sector. It represents analytical skills. It represents doing something perfectly. This is a sign which looks for perfection in everything. And Mars is nothing but our actions. So when Mars goes into Virgo, our action becomes methodical, analytical, and health and service sectors are activated. So you may suddenly feel like exercising a lot, paying more attention to your health in detail. But now there is a twist. A retrograde Saturn is in the sign of Pisces and it is casting a direct aspect on Mars in Virgo. So what is Saturn? Saturn is about delays, hurdles, patience, obstructions, success through patience and hard work. So when Saturn aspects Mars in Virgo, it is going to introduce some friction, delay, give you karmic tests, and it will cause a lot of restructuring of energy surrounding you. Next, let us look at Ketu in Leo. Leo is the sign of leadership, self-identity, pride. So when Ketu is in Leo, Ketu is a planet of letting go of things. And therefore, in Leo, Ketu cuts the ego. It deflates your pride. And Leo is also a sign of leadership. So you will see leadership realignments in this time period. Next, Jupiter or Guru is in Ardra. Ardra is the nakshatra ruled by Rudra and it is also ruled by Rahu. So Ardra represents intense transformations. It is the nakshatra that represents storms. And with Jupiter in Ardra, which is ruled by the shadowy Rahu, this represents intense transformations, storms, both literal and metaphorical. Now, what is the impact of these combinations on India? You can see that India has a Taurus ascendant. So the 511 axis is activated. So for India, who has the Taurus ascendant, Mars will now transit Virgo and that activates the 5th house. Saturn is in Pisces, that activates the 11th house. So what is the 5th house? It is about creativity. It is about children. It is about romance. It is about your investments. It is about education. It is about youth. And 11th house is more about your network of friends, your groups, any collective action that we do. So this is a classic case of creativity versus collective karma activation. Now, what does this combination bring when the 5th house is activated by Mars? 5th house, as I said, represents children, youth and education. And when Saturn and Mars mutually aspect each other and the aspect of Saturn falls on the 5th house of Virgo, the focus will be on student protests, educational reforms, disruptions in academic institutions. So, political youth wings may suddenly get aggressive, or there could be a lot of student protests or youth protests in this time period. Virgo is an earth sign, so this can also show protest by farmers, those dealing with agriculture. Now, the fifth house also represents stock market and speculation. So, when Saturn and Mars are mutually aspecting each other, and Mars is in the fifth house, it shows a volatile period because Mars will energize speculation. Fifth house is speculation. But Saturn's aspect gives restrictions, which means it will give corrections, it will bring bubbles in the stock market, or you might see sudden swings in the stock market. Now, foreign institutional investors, they can pull out their money suddenly because Saturn is aspecting Mars in Virgo. Saturn is a judge. Saturn represents regulations and judiciary. So, what this means is there could be regulatory or judicial scrutiny over the current trading practices in the stock market. Now, even the 11th house where Saturn is sitting is activated, and Mars is also aspecting Saturn in the 11th house because it's a mutual aspect. So, what is the 11th house? It is your network of friends, it is your alliances, it is your allies. From a country's context, it represents diplomatic relationships and deals. So, now here Saturn is going to bring delays. And 11th house also represents agreements, contracts. So, when Mars and Saturn are mutually aspecting each other, there will be a need to revisit old trade agreements. And because this is the house of friends, this is the house of allies, you can expect unexpected strain with an ally or exposures of secrets. Certain friends may show their true colors in this time period. Now, whatever I am saying is true for India because the 511 axis is activated. Next, the fifth house also represents entertainment, creativity, and arts. And because Mars is here, creativity is enhanced in this time period. But because Saturn is aspecting Mars, it cannot come without controversy. What does that mean? In the film line, you could see censorship. You could see public backlash against celebrities, influencers. So it is a time for deflation of false grandeur. So you can see a clash between tradition and modernity. Now we have Jupiter in Ardra, and Ardra is a very intense nakshatra which is ruled by Rudra, the deity of destruction and storms. So Ardra is going to bring about a destruction before healing. So what you can expect is global climate changes, sudden floods, hurricanes, environmental disasters, and it could also bring about a lot of disruptions in technology, namely in the AI, biotech sectors. And because Jupiter is in Gemini, which represents the media and communication sector, Jupiter in Ardra can also cause technological disruptions, namely related to AI, biotech, and you can see that information control will be debated very heavily. So what is this Mars-Saturn tension actually when they mutually aspect each other? See, Mars is the planet of energy, drive, action, and it is going to enter the sign of Virgo, a sign that deals with details, discipline, health, service. So Mars here becomes very surgical. Basically, it wants to do action with precision. But the problem is there is a Saturn aspecting it from Pisces with its seventh aspect, and Saturn and Mars are opposite energies. So Mars is impatient. He wants to act very fast, but Saturn says wait. So what is going to happen? You are going to get frustration, delays, karmic resistance, and it will also result in deep internal growth. So mutual aspect of Mars-Saturn can bring about military standoff in sensitive zones, that is in the sea-based zones or even on the borders. Why? Because Mars is the earth element, Saturn is in Pisces, which is the water element. So this can give earthquakes, this can give tsunamis. And global leaders' health scandals, abrupt changes may come out suddenly. Mars represents property and land, so property and land disputes increase in this time period. Healthcare, pharma, spiritual frauds, those are going to get exposed, and there could be a push for regulation related to information control, AI, health, and biotech. On the spiritual and personal front, Ketu is in Leo now. Leo is the sign ruled by Sun, so it shows your ego, self identity, pride, name, and fame. And Ketu is someone who cuts off all of these things suddenly. So, this is going to shatter the egos of many people, many leaders. And many of us will feel disillusioned with the current political leadership, celebrities, or people who have very strong personal identities, such as film stars. Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces shows some past karma coming back, some unfinished duties will resurface, which we have to complete now. And Mars is in Virgo, so it is the best time to take your health seriously, live a disciplined life, and exercise properly. So, the general advice from this transit is to practice humility because Saturn likes people who are humble. Don't rush into your decisions, especially if they are financial or involve some legal angles, because Mars in Virgo can make you very impulsive. Strengthen your nervous system because now you have Saturn in the natural 12th house of Pisces. So, meditate, walk, go to isolated places, spend time for yourself. And lastly, respect elders and commit to self-disciplines. Whenever Saturn Mars aspect each other mutually, a disciplined soldier wins, which means that if you are disciplined in life, this combination does wonders for you. Now I will do a quick ascendant wise analysis. Let us start with the Aries ascendant or Mesh Lagna. So now Mars is transiting your 6th house. 6th house shows conflict, litigation, health and discipline. And Saturn from your 12th house, that is a sign of Pisces, is going to aspect this Mars in Virgo. So what is 12th house? It is expenses, isolation, losses, karmic tests. Ketu is in the 5th house. 5th house is emotional detachment from romance and children because of Ketu in the 5th house. Jupiter is in your 3rd house in the Ardra nakshatra. So Jupiter encourages you to communicate, travel. The general advice for the Aries ascendant is to focus on health, get legal clarity in all matters, and avoid ego clashes with children or juniors because you have Mars in your 5th house and Saturn is aspecting it, so it can show clashes with children. In your romantic life also you could have ego clashes, so that is what you should avoid in this time period. Next I'll go to the Taurus ascendant or Vrushabh Lagna. Mars is in your 5th house and 5th house is about creativity, investment, children, speculation, education, all of that. Saturn is aspecting this Mars from your 11th house of Pisces. 11th house is about friends, a network of friends, okay, gains. Saturn always delays things, so here it will make you scrutinize your friend network. It will also delay your gains. Ketu is in the 4th house for you in the sign of Leo, so it shows a detachment from home, property related matters, and also from comfort. Jupiter is in your 2nd house, so that gives you financial opportunity, but because it is in Ardra, it can bring about a lot of friction in your family. So what is the solution or advice for Taurus ascendant? First thing is be disciplined in investments and do smart savings. Don't emotionally react at home or with your children, and don't indulge in unnecessary speculative activities in the stock market in this time period because you can make losses because Saturn is aspecting Mars in your 5th house. Now for the Gemini ascendant or Mithun Lagna, Mars is in the 4th house, that shows domestic tension, house and work balance issues. Saturn aspects Mars from the 10th house. So 10th house shows career related problems, boss related karma because Saturn is retrograde there. Ketu in the 3rd house will show detachment from siblings, Jupiter in your first house, that shows that you have to redefine your self identity. So it is a time to clear your emotional baggage and face professional challenges with maturity. Control temper at home or with mother like figures in this time period. Now, for the Cancer ascendant or Kark Lagna, Mars is transiting the third house. So, you will have a strong willpower, you can go on short trips, your speech may become very aggressive. But remember, Saturn aspects this Mars from your ninth house. Ninth house is your belief system. So, Saturn is going to give you a test with respect to your belief system, and there could be problems in father mentor relationship. Ketu is in your second house. So second house is about wealth. So here Ketu can show some money mismanagement, and when you are speaking you may not be careful. You may be a bit detached when you speak. Jupiter in your 12th house, that shows spiritual depth, foreign connections. So for the Cancer ascendant, this is a good time for spiritual practice. If you want to go abroad, this is a good time. But you should avoid harsh speech and impulsive spending. So that Mars in your third house, that can make you harsh in your speech, and you could also indulge in impulsive spending in this time period. So those are the areas where you have to be careful. For the Leo ascendant or Sima Lagna, Mars is transiting the second house. So your speech is going to be very sharp, aggressive, and you will gain money through action. Saturn is sitting in your 8th house, it is retrograde, so it shows delays in getting inheritance, and certain karmic depth will resurface in this time period. Ketu is in your first house, so it is going to create some identity confusion. It may shatter your ego. Jupiter is in your 11th house, which is good because it gives you gains and a good network of friends. But the advice for you is to watch your words, be humble, and accept the transformation that Saturn gives in your 8th house. Avoid impulsive investment. For Virgo ascendant or Kanya Lagna, now Mars is transiting your first house. So your personal drive is going to be very high. You may become very aggressive. Saturn sits in your 7th house and mutually aspects Mars. So 7th house is about relationships. So in relationships there could be friction. In your business there could be certain delays. Ketu sits in your 12th house. So this is a disconnection from desires and it shows spiritual awakening. Jupiter is in your 10th house, so it gives a rise in career if it is aligned with a proper purpose. Now, because Mars is in your first house, you can use this intense energy for going to the gym, indulging in fitness activities, engaging in leadership activities with a focused effort. But don't try to dominate in relationships, because Mars Saturn activating your 1-7 axis will spoil everything in relationships. For the Libra ascendant or Tula Lagna, Mars is in the 12th house. 12th house shows health, sleep, and subconscious patterns will activate in this time period. Saturn is in your 6th house, aspecting the Mars in 12th house. So it shows karmic enemies from the past coming back. Certain legal issues which were pending, you will have to resolve in this time period. Ketu is in the 11th house. So it can show a loss of interest in material gains or friends. Jupiter is in your 9th house. That is good for spiritual learning, long distance travel. So this is a good time for meditation, any therapy, and avoid self-sabotage or escapism in this time period. That is the only advice I want to give you. For the Scorpio ascendant or Vrishicka Lagna, Mars is transiting the 11th house. 11th house is showing desire for gains, your network of friends, your influence. So all of these get activated. But Saturn is transiting your 5th house. So it can show creative blocks. Wherever Saturn is, it creates pressure. So some pressure from children or past decisions which you have done related to certain investments, that can cause problems in this time period. Ketu is in the 10th house, transiting your 10th house. So it can show career related problems, detachment, problems from bosses. You might want a separate identity in your job. Jupiter is transiting your 8th house. So secrets come to light. transformation via lost or inheritance will happen in this time period. So for the Scorpio ascendant, it is a time to rethink your legacy and your leadership role and avoid any risky investment in this time period. Now for the Sagittarius ascendant or Dhanu Lagna, Mars is transiting your 10th house. So your ambition in your career can increase and you will also get leadership opportunities. But remember, Saturn sits in the 4th house. So wherever Saturn is, there is pressure. So pressure from family, problems related to real estate, those will come. Ketu is in your 9th house. 9th house is your belief system. So you will start questioning religions, gurus, long held beliefs. Jupiter is transiting the 7th house of partnership. So this is good. Partnerships evolve. There is intensity in marriage as well as your business. So take more responsibility in your career because Mars in Virgo tends to take a lot of responsibility. There will be challenges because Saturn is aspecting it. But try to face those challenges. Don't resist your inner belief shifts. Face those challenges and you will come out successfully. Now for the Capricorn ascendant or Makar Lagna, Mars is transiting your 9th house. So you are going to take bold steps related to travel to distant lands, foreign places. And there could be some past karma related to father that will come out in this time period. Father or mentor. Saturn is transiting the 3rd house. So control over speech, control over your mind is needed. Ketu is transiting your 8th house, so let go of your fears. You may get sudden loss or sudden insights in this time period. Jupiter is transiting your 6th house, so health and work, those areas expand. So for you, this is a powerful time to share your own truth, explore new philosophies because Jupiter encourages you there. But control your anger in debate or during travel. Because you have a Mars in the 9th house, so this can give fights during travel. Be careful. For the Aquarius ascendant or Kumbh Lagna, Mars is transiting the 8th house. 8th house shows sudden events, occult interest, and Saturn transits the 2nd house and aspects Mars in the 8th house. So the Marak axis, 2-8 axis is activated, which means there will be money management pressure, duties related to family that can cause a lot of stress. Ketu is in your 7th house, so it can disconnect you from relationships, partnerships. Jupiter in the 5th house can give you strong creativity in this time period. So the advice to you is to go inward, heal your past trauma and avoid power struggles, especially in partnerships and relationships. Lastly, we will go to the Pisces ascendant or Meen Lagna. So here Mars is in your 7th house, which shows heat in partnerships, passions and conflicts. Saturn is in the 1st house, so lot of personal pressure will be there and Saturn will give you lot of maturity tests. Ketu is in the 6th house forming a Shatru Hanta Yoga. This is good. Let go of petty fights and any fear related to health or diseases. Jupiter in the 4th house. So you can do some renovation in your home in this time period. Only advice for you is have clarity in contracts, set boundaries, don't act impulsively in marriage or business deals. You may feel a bit confused also in this time period because you have Saturn in the ascendant aspected by Mars from the 7th house. So chant the Hanuman Chalisa, that will give you a lot of relief in this time period. So friends, that's all from my end. You can visit our website astroseva.tripod.com to know more about us. You can also email us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com if you want to reach out to us. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe.